Welcome to Check-In, I'm Lucy Ahern. Check-In is a television show run for youth by youth. We discuss the issues you actually care about in a way you can relate to. There's no frills, no fillers and no boring bits. Today our topic is youth health, the misconceptions, realities and what we can do to keep on top of everything. We'll be covering mental health when we catch up with team leaders at the newly opened Headspace Centre at Noarlunga, as well as sexual health with Shine SA's Eamon McIntyre joining us in the studio. Plus, Alana James and Gemma Pietras have a bloody good time donating to the Red Cross appeal, and our reporters find out about your biggest health concerns. But first to Sarah Spencer, who has some shocking statistics to share with us.
Thanks, Lucy. Whilst we have looked at a few of the more pressing mental health issues, there are so many ways which the mind can manifest itself. Let's look at some of the more interesting and rare disorders. The Fragoli delusion is a rare disorder in which a person holds a delusional belief that different people are in fact a single person who change appearance or is in disguise. Reduplicative paramnesia is the delusional belief that a place or location has been duplicated, existing in two or more places simultaneously. Triskaidekaphobia is the fear of the number 13. The smuttiest cities have been released in the April edition of Men's Health magazine. Florida headed the list of the smuttiest states. It seems that while tourists line up a kid-friendly fantasy world, the locals prefer one in which Snow White and the dwarfs whistle while, well, you know. Skin cancer has received special recognition in Canada with the declaration of Melanoma Monday. Now, despite the somewhat laughable name of the event, in reality, melanomas now rank as the fourth most common cancer diagnosed in youth and young adults. The Take a Stand, Don't Tan campaign is designed to educate young people on the dangers of tanning, both indoor and outdoor. In dietary news, researchers in the US have announced that over half of all caffeine overdoses in the States occur in children younger than 19. I, for one, didn't realise that you could overdose from too much caffeine. However, too much coffee can in fact result in central nervous system overstimulation, known as caffeine intoxication. Back to you, Lucy.
Well, that was certainly enlightening. Thanks, Sarah. Not many of us like the thought of needles, and the thought of volunteering to get jabs seems absolutely nonsensical to some. But our brave reporter Alana James rolled up her sleeves in the name of charity and went to see what blood donating is all about.
With teenage girls now obsessed with One Direction, vampires and blood are a thing of the past. Not for us here at Check-In. We went to the Red Cross Blood Service to see what donating blood was all about. Not too bad really, fill out some forms, test your iron levels and you're good to go. The staff were lovely, teaching us all about how blood gets sorted into platelets, plasma and red blood cells. Easy peasy, everyone must donate blood, right? Wrong.
1 in 3 people will need blood in their lifetime, but only 1 in 30 donates.
Wait, what?
But only 1 in 30 donates.
But you get free food. And you also save 3 lives with each donation. So you can be just like the people in the Red Cross ads and forget to pick up your mother-in-law just because you donated blood. Well, we may not have got a gold star, but we did feel pretty good about doing our part to help out. And that was our trip to the Red Cross Blood Service.
We now cross to Victoria Moore, who asked the public a very divisive question. What do you think is more important, sexual or mental health?
Hi, I'm Victoria Moore and today I'm at UniSA's McGill campus to find out what you think about the issues facing the youth of today with regards to health.
Mental health is definitely something that every youth can relate to at some point in their life.
Most youth don't have an acute understanding of how they affect their mind or their body. I think both are serious.
Sexual health issues would be more relevant in today's young people.
Mental health, I think lots of youth battle with depression.
I'd say mental health issues because only a certain number of people are, I guess, sexually active.
Both massive issues for youth and for society in general, but maybe mental health issues are a bigger issue just because there isn't enough awareness.
Mental health issues because sexual health involves things like maybe STIs, things that can be more easily cured than stuff like depression and suicide.
We tend to talk a little bit more about sexual health today, so it doesn't seem as bad because we know a little bit more about contraception and protection.
Now to a topic many would prefer remained untouched. ABS data has shown that the rate of notifications for STIs in young people is 4 times what it was in 1998, mainly rising in chlamydia. On that note, almost 2/3 of chlamydia infections occur amongst young people, and that's only the reported stats. Shine SA are the leading sexual health organisation in South Australia, providing invaluable education on topics such as contraception, pregnancy and STIs. to help youth find out more than the bare minimum that is sometimes shared with us. They also have a wealth of counselling services in clinics across the state to help youth manage their sexual health issues. I'm joined in the studio now by Eamon McIntyre from Shine. Thanks for being with us today, Eamon. So we'll get straight down to the nitty-gritty. Shine's Sexual Health Awareness Week this year focused on chlamydia. Can you tell us a little bit more about why they needed to focus on that?
I think the main reason for focusing on chlamydia this year was because when you look at the stats, it's been progressively going up since since day dot really. In the early 2000s, it was somewhere around 1,000, 1,500 cases a year. Last year it was probably around the 5,000 cases in South Australia alone. So that was the main push to focus on chlamydia. Also, the results of untreated or undiagnosed chlamydia can be fairly significant. So it can cause infertility if it's untreated.
Right. So why do you think there's it's less detected than? Are people just not coming into the clinics? Are they scared? That sort of thing.
I think both of those things. We're doing a lot to try to really make people more aware of their sexual health and also about their sexual well-being. So I think people think about going into a clinic. When they think about going into a clinic, they think, they generally only do it if they have a symptom of some description. And historically, when people go to the doctor, they go because they've got a cold or they've got a cough or whatever. When you're talking about sexual health, there are things that you need to be aware of.
So what sort of symptoms should people be looking for? I mean, I know things like chlamydia are less detectable, but
yeah. So chlamydia is one of those things that in 50% of cases there are no symptoms at all. So that's one of the reasons why we try to encourage people to have testing more frequently, even if they don't have symptoms. So generally, I would say to someone that was coming in, you should aim to have at least one STI screen a year. But over and above that, if you have an exposure, so if you have sex without a condom, then we say come in and have a test done. When you leave a relationship, that's a good time to have a test done. And then when you go into a new relationship, before you start to or decide not to use condoms anymore, that's another really good time for you and your partner to come in and have screening, just so that you're both on an even playing field. Aim for once a year, but again, if you have an exposure, so sex without a condom, then it's a good idea to go in and just get yourself checked, because you might not have any symptoms.
Yeah, better safe than sorry, hey?
Exactly right.
So in regards to youth, what things should they specifically be on the lookout for, and what are their main sexual health problems that you've identified?
Okay, so that's a difficult question, because most of the STIs that really affect people in Australia, or the most common ones, often don't have any symptoms at all. So I think the strongest message I'd have to try to get out there is that if you've ever had sex without a condom, then you need to go and get yourself checked out. If you do have symptoms, you'd expect to have maybe either a discharge from the vagina or the penis. Depending on the type of infection it is, the discharge might be different colours, which is pretty exciting. You might have some pain with urination. You might have pain with deep penetration. You might have abdominal pain. And for both men and women, things like chlamydia and gonorrhea can cause infertility.
Right.
So it's not just a woman's issue. Men need to really try to take better care of themselves as well, because historically men are really bad at doing that.
All right, well that's all we have time for, unfortunately, but thank you so much for coming, and you've given us some great tips and things to look out for.
No worries.
Australian Bureau of Statistics data has revealed that the 18 to 24-year-old age group is more affected by mental illness than any other, and only 1 in 4 in that group have received professional help. Headspace, Australia's National Youth Mental Health Foundation, is out to transform these statistics, running nationwide campaigns to increase awareness and fight stigma. Dedicated teams in centres all across Australia provide information, advice and support for 12 to 25-year-olds who are depressed, confused or simply going through a tough time. I went offset this week, travelling all the way to the new Headspace Centre at Noarlunga and checked in with the enthusiastic coordinators to see exactly how they're helping our youth overcome some giant hurdles. Welcome to Headspace Noarlunga. This is the latest branch to open of the national leading mental health organisation in Australia. I'm Lucy Ahern and I'm here to meet the team and see exactly what the centre is doing for the community's youth. Nationwide, Headspace centres provide comfortable environments supporting young people affected by mental or sexual health and substance-related issues. Plus, the new Noarlunga team has already been heavily involved with community forums, art projects and events. I spoke to Roberta Baruzzi, Noarlunga Centre Coordinator, and Shane Hoff, one of the Youth Engagement and Care Coordinators, to find out the centre's objectives.
The overall aim is to provide youth-friendly and evidence-based health services to young people in a youth-friendly environment, basically. So to provide a range of services including mental health, general health, drug and alcohol, and vocation and education services. So there also is, I guess, a bigger vision around being the definitive voice of youth mental health in Australia.
One of the vital differences between Headspace and other organisations is their consultation with the community's youth, with a panel of representatives from all walks of life forming each centre's youth reference group. I asked Group Coordinator Shane what they were all about.
Basically, every site around Australia has a reference group, and the philosophy behind that is that anything we do needs to have a youth perspective on it, and obviously the best way to do that is with young people. And so with the reference group we meet on a regular basis, and we might have a particular project we're working on, or there might be a new policy or the new campaign that's out, and we go through everything with the young person to just try and make sure that we're on the right track with that.
Headspace's newest campaign highlights a range of issues common amongst youth. Roberta explained that stigma attached to mental illness can deter people from seeking help, despite so many being affected.
I think it's the biggest barrier to seeking help and to actually crossing a bridge to say, I've had this issue which more than 20% of the population have, and we need to put it on the table.
You know, it's 1 in 4 young Australians are affected by mental health, so therefore it's important to realise that anyone that you know needs help at some stage. So Headspace really likes to create that friendly environment and make them feel a bit more at home and at ease.
More than anything, these centres are focused on helping our youth through tough times, says Roberta.
Well, I think young people, because they're a part of a family environments or care groups or somewhere, someone's going to notice that something isn't right, or they'll talk to someone, hopefully, whether it's a friend or a family member or a teacher or something, if the anxiety's getting too much, if the dark cloud of depression is too heavy, if the pressure to pretend or manage schoolwork is too much. Anytime they can ring.
All services are free of charge and centres are open to walk-ins and referrals. To find your nearest centre or for more information, visit their website. There's such a dedicated team up there. If you or anyone you know is suffering from mental health issues, don't be afraid to seek help. You can contact Lifeline Australia on 131114. Now that's all about we have time for, but before we go today, we've got a live studio performance from Britt and Soph McKay. This sister duo are going to share with us their gorgeous harmonies, performing an unplugged version of Oak Tree.
Underneath the oak trees where I wanna be, singing my songs and my ABCs. The one I think most about's not here nor there. The Sunset Strip is where those people stare. The head is expanding like a whirlpool of fire. The warmth of the sun is the warmth that I desire. Porcelain skin, one would never ever know. Beauty's in the simple things like new eyes and nose. darling, please take the time to breathe. Always know where you stand with me. There's all the time in the world for us to be us. So please let us say we are our own one day. Let us say we are our own one day. Hey. Movement of the black blood through our hearts triggers the fear and the tears, they all start. Freedom of speech is what we seem to do, always forgetting about the one that's overdue. But darling, please take the time to breathe. Always know where you stand with me. There's all the time in the world for us to be us. So please let us say we are our own one day. Yeah, let us say we are our own one day. Yeah, let us say we are our own one day. Yeah, let us say we are our own one day. But darling, please take the time to breathe. Always know where you stand with me. There's all the time in the world for us to be us. So please let us say we are our own one day. Yeah, let us say we are our own one day. Yeah, let us say we are our own one day. Yeah, let us say we are our own one day.
That was Soph and Britt McKay performing Oak Tree. Thanks so much for being here with us today, guys. That was a true delight. That's all we have time for this week. Check in with us again next time for more critical issues facing the youth of today. I'm Lucy Ahern. See you next time. And remember, you can check in with us on Facebook and Twitter too.